Thank you. Very good. All right. Well, thank you all very much for joining us here this afternoon. You guys having a good time? You guys having fun? Listen, on behalf of NAMM and the folks here in Nashville, I want to thank you all very much for coming out this weekend. Not just for myself, I greatly appreciate it as well, but giving yourself some time out here in the community with Nashville. I greatly appreciate it, and NAMM does as well. In preparing for today, earlier this week, I came across what I thought was an interesting article, and I just want to share it with you for a moment because it'll explain something that we're going to get to here shortly. There's a publication out there, a magazine by the name of Inc. magazine, INC. You know, it's an entrepreneur magazine. And truth be told, we all are entrepreneurs, yourselves, myself, and everybody out here on this floor. But they have an article that they published highlighting the best businesses to be in over the next few years. And I kid you not, number 2 in that article was selling musical instruments. Now 1, that's pretty cool. But 2, if you guys are kind of like me, I kind of chuckled inside and I was kind of wondering what planet these guys are on, because there is no doubt times are tough, man. Times are tough. They're brutal out there. They're hard for you. They're hard for me. They're hard for everybody out there on that floor. But when I stopped and thought about it, I mean, it's bad. We know, I mean, our education system, they're cutting our music programs left and right, and that kills me. It breaks my heart. It turns my stomach. But if we can take a negative into a positive, I mean, that is sad, but they've just eliminated your competition for those of you who have music programs at your retailers. And that's a good thing. And so this is what I think is really cool, and why I really want to share with you, because I am totally sincere about this, and that is that I do think you guys rock. And you guys rock for a reason that's even greater now, because you have an opportunity to inspire, to motivate, and educate those in your community about the benefits of making music. And again, we're all in this industry not to be rich. I mean, we're not going to be Bill Gates. I mean, we're here because we love it and we found a way to make a living. But to have that opportunity is one of the greatest gifts in the world. And once again, that's why I really do believe you guys rock, because you have an opportunity to influence your community. In fact, I don't know if you are aware, but NAMM every year conducts a survey, a study. They send people out, knock on their doors, and ring them up and ask them questions about the music industry. And in this last survey, of those polled, of those who did not currently play a musical instrument, it's either 90, 80, 90%. I don't know, I don't remember exactly what it is, but the number is high. I mean, 90% of those polled wish they played a musical instrument. That's huge, because I'm just going to venture and guess that I would say right now, maybe in your communities as retailers, maybe 10% of that community is really a customer of yours that you see on a regular basis and that they purchase product from you. But look at that gap that you have in growing your business. Step outside your door next week and look around your community and just imagine if 90% of those people out there were your customers. And the great thing is, half the battle is already done. They want your product. I mean, in sales, that's half the battle. All you got to do is close them. Just get the word out there and tell them you're there to provide their service. So once again, because of that and because of that opportunity, I love what you guys do, and I'm very flattered to have the opportunity to talk to you guys here today about public relations. So enough of the cheerleading. We'll get on to really what we're here for, and that is to how to grow your customers and increase your sales. So for those of you who do not know, my name is Josh Vittek. I am the president of Joshua Paul Vittek and Associates. We are a public relations firm. I've been in the industry for 20 years, and actually I've been in this industry for 20 years. It's my life. I love it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But what we're going to learn here is how to use public relations techniques to grow your customer base and increase your sales. So we got to figure out what public relations is. This is a question I get a lot when I'm out there talking to prospects, clients, and folks like yourselves. Public relations in its simplest form is just that. It's your relationship with your public. But I expand on that a little bit for my own business, for my clients, because it's also the public's relationship with you. What we're trying to achieve here is what's called third-party validation. What we want to achieve, something like this. I'll give you an example. You may think your relationship with your local grocer is phenomenal. Every time you go into his store, he smiles, he greets you with a handshake, and he gladly takes your money when you're all done. But if he doesn't feel the same way about you and your business, we're lacking that third-party validation, and that's where we may have ourselves a problem. Third-party validation is just that, someone else tooting your horn for you. Another example would be someone new comes into your community, they ask your neighbors, where can I go to buy good quality product at good reasonable prices with nice friendly service? If your public relations are in order, if you have that third-party validation, you better hope that neighbor says you. That's what we want. That's public relations. It's creating that third-party validation. Next question we get quite a bit is there tends to be a confusion between what public relations is and advertising. Now, in advertising, well, let me say this. Advertising and public relations, they're two separate entities. They work together, and when they combine, that's what comes together and creates what is called your marketing plan. But in advertising, you're paying to promote yourself. It is you going out there and telling the world how you wish to be perceived. In public relations, it's the public telling the world how they perceive you. There's a big difference. In advertising, you're giving your local newspaper $1,000 to run a half-page ad about your upcoming sale. But when you have an article appearing in a local paper about you, that's public relations, and that's earning you business, that's earning you media coverage. So in advertising builds you reputation and sales that you pay for. You got to pay for that. But in public relations builds your reputation and increases your sales by earning it. So to break it down into its simplest form, advertising costs you money. Public relations makes you money. There's a big difference, and that's why I love doing the PR side of what I do in this industry. So now that we have an understanding of what it is, how it differs from advertising, we've got to figure out what it's worth, because it's going to take at least a little bit of time. It may not cost you dollars, but it is going to take a little bit of time. In print, television, radio, online, editorial coverage, and that being when an article appears in the newspaper about you or your business. Analysts, those great guys that sit up in high towers and crunch numbers for a living, there's a lot of them. But analysts say that the value of an article in your media is worth anywhere from 2.5 to 6 times the value of an equivalent advertisement. Meaning, and I'm going to stick with 4 just for the sake of easy numbers, 4 times. So, meaning if we were to receive a half-page article about your business in that same newspaper, we were to give $100 or $1,000 rather to an advertising, the value of that article actually ends up being $4,000 worth of media coverage. So you can either spend $1,000, or with a little bit of time, you can actually earn yourself not only $4,000 in media coverage, but you begin to generate that third-party confirmation out there in your community. The power of other people's opinions and what is said about you in the media has such a great effect on the success of your business that I sincerely feel that your return on your investment in public relations, nothing can compare. So now, media coverage. How do we get it? Now I'm going to venture out there, and I'm going to hope that all of you live and work in a community that still has at least one newspaper covering your area. Hopefully you still have a few more. But in addition to the newspapers, you still got television. You got at least 4 networks covering your area. You still got a handful of radio stations. And there is somebody out there blogging about the town gossip somewhere on the internet. So there is media outlets out there. Now, for example, I took my community, which is San Diego. And once again, newspapers, television, radio, online, it's all there. So I want, if you guys would be so kind, I want to give you guys actually kind of a little bit of an assignment that I actually do on Monday. So if you do have pen and paper, if you'd work with me on this, write for me the name of that newspaper that covers your community. If you got more than one, write them down. Just write down the first ones that come to mind. In addition to that, write down the local television networks in your area. And again, you got to have at least 4. You're going to have an ABC affiliate, an NBC affiliate, a CBS affiliate. Nowadays, you even got a Fox affiliate. If you live in bigger communities, you'll even have local networks like myself, KUSI out there in San Diego. Write down the radio stations. Not only the radio stations you listen to, but the radio stations your friends listen to, your family listens to, your employees. It doesn't matter what format that radio station broadcasts in. Just go ahead and write them down. And then lastly, jot down the websites that you frequent on a regular basis. Websites that refer to your community, where you go to learn about what concerts are in town this weekend, what events do you want to attend this weekend, who makes the best pizza, whatever it is. Websites that focus on your community. Now, the assignment is this. When you return home on Monday, I want you guys to pick up the phone and call each one of those media outlets. I'm going to estimate it's going to take you 1, if you live in bigger areas, maybe 3 hours most, but it'll go by quick and it'll be easy because all you got to do is give them a call, introduce yourself, tell them your business, and just ask them, can I have the contact information of someone I can speak with the next time I have something newsworthy to share? It's really simple. It's all you got to do. And they'll give that information to you. And so your next step is to repeat those steps I just mentioned. Now you're going to contact that individual, kindly introduce yourself, once again state to them the business that you do, and ask their permission. That's important. Ask their permission that next time you have a newsworthy event to share with your community, that you provide them that information, whether it be by email or phone. And in doing so, you will now have created one of the most valuable assets anyone can have in a public relations campaign, and that is your media contact list. People pay good money for that. So we know what public relations is, we know what public relations is worth, and we know who to talk to when we have something to share. So the next question is going to be, how do we share it? A press release. A press release is a very powerful tool in getting your word out. A press release is a statement of news and fact given to the media to be publicized. And I'll say that again. A press release is a statement of news and fact given to the media to be publicized. Here is a very important note that you all need to just take to heart. What a press release is not. A press release is not an advertisement. It is not your opportunity to tell the world that you are the most bestest, most goodery thing in town. That's an opinion. That's for others to decide. A press release is a statement of fact provided to the media to be publicized. It is the editor and journalist's job to take the facts that you've provided them and decide whether or not that is a story of interest for your community. So in writing your press release, the most important part of your press release is going to be that headline. That headline needs to be short, needs to be simple, direct and to the point, preferably 10 words or less. An example would be simply, I had one written down, here it is, students to perform recital at ABC Music. Short, simple, direct to the point, less than 10 words. Please keep in mind when you are writing the headline to your press release, your goal is to entice the editor and the journalist, not your consumer. This is not a piece of material that is going out to your end user, it is going to the trade people. That is our goal, to entice them to open up our email and learn more about what we're talking about. Second most important piece of your press release is going to be that opening paragraph. It is your opening paragraph that is going to tell that editor or journalist whether or not, quite simply, they care. You need to give them a reason why your newsworthy event is worth their time in covering. So we need to quickly answer 5 questions in that first paragraph, and that is who, what, when, where, and why. So in the example of the headline we talked about earlier, student recital at ABC Music, our who is going to be ABC Music, our what is going to be the student recital, when, for the sake of timing, let's say it's July 4th at 1 p.m., where, we're going to do it at ABC Music at 1313 Mockingbird Lane, if that address rings a bell for some of you, and why, to celebrate the holiday weekend and our students' achievements. Those are the 5 facts that we need to deliver in that first paragraph. And in that first paragraph, once again, you're going to see a common trait here in your press releases, in that we need to keep it short, simple, and to the point. An example of that opening paragraph is going to read something like this. ABC Music students will be performing a recital this coming July 4th at 1 p.m. The performance will be at ABC Music, celebrating the holiday weekend and our students' achievements. That's it. Simple. 2 sentences. Contrary to what we all learned in grammar school, in the case of press releases, we don't need 5 sentences to make a complete paragraph. It doesn't need to be in chronological order. What we need to do now is get our message across really quick and simple. With that information, your journalist and editor will be able to decide whether or not they want to investigate it further. Another important side note, keep your press release to 1 page or less. That's really all you need. There's really no need. I mean, if you can tell them all those 5 facts within the first paragraph, take a second or third paragraph to go into a little bit more detail. Tell them what kind of music the students will be performing, what instruments will they be playing, will there be refreshments at the recital, but keep it to facts. But in the closing of your press release, the next or third most important part of that press release is going to be that closing paragraph, or what is called your boilerplate. And that is simply a paragraph that summarizes who you are as a business. And not only being used in the press releases, but this should be on your websites, this should be in your catalogs, this should be in your store, but a press release that sums up who you are. So once again, following along lines of what we've been talking about, an example in this case is going to be ABC Music, established in 1956, is located in the heart of Main Street, USA. The store offers a full line of musical instrument sales, rentals, repairs, and lessons. That's everything. For more information, visit us online at abcmusic.com or call Jenny at 8675-309. That's a press release. It really is that simple. In fact, I really think the hardest part about writing a press release is just cutting out all the fluff and getting to the point. But if you can do that, you're going to have a lot more success. So before we wrap it up, I want to step back and refer to the half-page article versus half-page advertisement we were talking about earlier. Again, remember, in our example, the value of an article written about you, a half-page article in your local paper, generated you $4,000 worth of media coverage. Contrary, if we were to have run an advertisement, that would have cost you $1,000. So once again, advertising is costing you money, but your public relations and your media coverage is making you money. But now, things have changed. Because in the previous example I showed you, I had 14 media outlets in my area. Some of you have less, some of you have more, but nonetheless, that's 14 additional opportunities for me to share my story. And for you as a business, what that provides you is an opportunity to generate, anytime you have a newsworthy event, $56,000 worth in media coverage. $56,000 for writing a press release. To me, once again, that's a pretty darn good return. That is a very good return on your investment, and that is how I think each one of you can build your customer base and increase your sales for free. I really do think it's that simple. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me here for the last 20 minutes. If you guys have any questions, we can do that now. If not, I welcome you guys. See me on the floor. If not, we'll do it again next time at the Winter Show. Thank you very much.
And well, how about any questions before you get away? All right, we got a question over here.
Okay, you gave the example of a recital.
Yes.
What other items would the press be interested in writing about us?
You know what, community press, what they do like is if you have artist appearances, they have a tendency to like that. So for example, depending on the brands that you carry in your store, I'm just going to use this as an example because they're all good friends of mine and I see it happen quite a bit. But if anyone here carries BC Rich guitars, there is an artist, a gentleman by the name of Kerry King, and I see on numerous occasions where the retailers will work with BC Rich and the artist to have the artist swing by during the day before their performance when they're in town and make artist appearances. That is newsworthy event. I mean, your local community will eat that up. They love that kind of stuff. So there's an opportunity right there as well. Or, you know, new store openings as well.
We have another question.
Is it possible to have overkill? I mean, can you be sending out these messages so often that the journalists will stop reading them?
If you keep it to newsworthy items, any editor or journalist with integrity is going to appreciate what you're doing. Are they going to cover everyone? I mean, if you're sending them a newsworthy item every week, no. Because it's not fair, really. I mean, they do have a rest of the community to serve. If it's newsworthy, then no, it is not. The question needs to be, is it newsworthy or not? You know?
Now with radio station wise, is it good to just be in contact over the phone, or is it good to send a letter out like this to them as well for what's happening at your place of business?
What I encourage you all to do, contact them on the phone first, because you want to build a rapport with them. I mean, a rapport is not critical, but if you have it, you are that much further ahead. But once you have contacted them and you figure out who it is that you want to be talking to when you have something going on, because it's usually not your morning DJ. He has someone else feeding him the information. So once you know who that is and you've introduced yourself via phone or in person, then yeah, then emails become a little more acceptable.
Here's another question.
So in terms of like a radio station,
yeah,
are they going to kind of weigh in? Is this company advertising with me? Same way with a newspaper, are they going to give that some weight? If you're already advertising with them, whatnot?
All right, it's a loaded question. I'm going to make sure none of the magazine guys are out here. Yeah, it is important, but it's not critical. I mean, because, come on, truth be told, I mean, publications, they need advertising to make money. If they don't make money, they don't have work. And if they don't have work, we got no one to tell our story to. So it is an issue, but it should not be a critical issue, because if that media outlet works on the integrity of what a journalist and editor should do, there is a separation. I mean, an editor should be able to look at a story and decide whether or not your story is newsworthy or not for your community, regardless of how many full-page advertisements you're taking out in their publication. 95% of the publications will operate that way. Does it hurt if you're sending them $1,000 every month? Of course not. That helps a lot, but no, it's not necessary. I don't have that issue.
Here we go.
Yes, you mentioned about the sending an email after you're getting more familiar with the publication or
Yeah.
what have you. We have a nonprofit in Michigan called Charity Music. People don't have musical instruments. We give them to kids that need them. We have some very interesting videos that we get every so often of cases. Would it be possible to attach a video, like a YouTube, to an email once we're really on a good first name basis with the writer or publicist?
What you do with video content and attachments is preferably you want to have those videos or attachments like files located somewhere else and provide them a link so that in their email they can click on that link and then see the video. So give them a link to your YouTube channel, because the issue you'll run into if you're emailing that out is a lot of media outlets, they have filters on their email systems, on their servers, that when you have attachments like that, they'll block them and either send them to the junk mail, and we don't want that, so put it in a link. Put it in a link and let them go outside and capture that for you.
Do we have any other questions for Josh? All right, now we can give him a good hand. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much, guys.